Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Internet Paladins radio show. I am Jamal.
And I am Comrade Spaniard.
Indeed, he is.
And we are recording from lovely Granada. It's lovely here, and it's actually kind of getting lovely everywhere in the world as winter slowly retreats.
It is.
Very slowly. I think all the snowstorms across the world have stopped, if I'm not mistaken. Or are they continuing?
I don't know.
I think they've actually stopped. So it was kind of getting ridiculous there for a while. There's like a snowstorm every couple of days. It's absurd. So what's going on in the world?
Oh, lots of stuff. Lots of stuff's going on in the world. Let's start with something that happened right here a little while ago. This article is actually a bit old because we are recording today, not a week ago when it came out. But a 21-year-old from southern Spain died last Saturday after being electrocuted when he climbed onto a train to take a selfie. He's from Andiar here in Andalusia, and unfortunately he had the bright idea that he would climb onto a train, and he touched a high voltage wire that he and his friends assumed was not electrified. Well, it was, and so he died. The Spanish online daily Ideal reported that it was a 35,000 volt discharge that hit him, so pretty sure he died. The local paramedics and police rushed to the scene, but they discovered that he was dead. Not surprising. So, he was 21. So, all 21 years of whatever he did leading up to a stupid death to take a photo for Facebook. That's pretty bad. Yeah.
I read an article, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I guess, and it wasn't a guy taking a selfie. I don't think he was just trying to take a photo of something. He climbed a tree, touched a wire, and then he was also killed. And I actually saw a photo of a black guy, or what was left of a black guy, after he tried to cut into a live, like one of those main cables carrying electricity from the transformer stations. I guess for the copper or whatever it was, I don't know what they're made of. Something there was valuable, and he was using electrical wires. What do you call them? I don't know. You cut hedges with them. Sniffers. I don't know the word. Anyway, but they're made so that you can cut through electrical stuff, but like not actual electrical cabling, right? Like small electrical things. And he was trying to cut through an actual like main line, and they showed his body on the ground. And not only was he like a piece of charcoal, his left arm had been blown off from the electrical charge. It was almost like a clean cut from the electricity. It just like sawed off his arm. Pure energy sawed off his arm.
I assume he was dead.
Oh yeah.
Why are we laughing? But anyway.
We're laughing because the world is so insane, and people, they just don't think at all about anything. And it's so absurd that, well, what else can you do? You can't get mad because it's never going to change it. No. So you laugh, right?
Well, some people got mad here yesterday, on Sunday. Up in Madrid, I don't know if you heard about the March for Dignity that was going on.
I did.
Yeah, so people have had enough of the nonsense going on here with the economy, and they decided to go and throw things at the cops like everyone else does in every other country when they're pissed off. Unsuccessfully, of course. Yep. So, yeah.
Did LaGuardia beat them down, or?
Oh, God, yeah. Rubber bullets, full-out charges against the huddled masses. So, yeah. So they said it would be a tide of citizens that will restore the dignity of the capital. According to Diego Carmelo, and he was from down here in the Andalusian Workers Union, but no, the dignity of the capital, my ass. So anyway, the capital should be moved to Granada. That would be the first step in securing the economy. But anyway,
you know how you change the system? You stop participating in the system. You don't use the system to change the system. The system is made so that it will never change. And it has to be that way, right? It's self-perpetuating. And if you engage in these peaceful marches, everyone wants to be peaceful. Like, no one wants to go in there with a gun and start shooting people in the head. No, no, unless you're sick or twisted or something. No one gets up in the morning and wants to do that. But you can, if you confront the police with tomatoes and carefully painted placards, you're gonna wake up tomorrow with, a lot of bruises. Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, nothing's going to change, right?
No. So, well, that's why we didn't go to march in Madrid, in case anyone's wondering, because if we want to change the system, we will not participate in it. Instead, we will complain about it to you on the radio. And by the radio, I mean the internet. But
there's actually there's an island. I can't not remember the name of the island in Spain right now. It's a little island, and it currently has a communist government, an actual communist government. And this government owns all the property, and they essentially sell it to all the people who live there for, a couple bucks, so that they can, not have a giant mortgage hanging over their heads. They share enterprises. They share, it's total cooperation. And they don't suffer at all from the recession in the rest of Spain, because, just as we said, they do not participate in the system. It's really so simple. People are complaining, I'm getting burnt, I'm getting burnt, I'm getting burnt, and yet they continue standing in the fire.
Yeah.
It's totally absurd.
I think you mean the Balearic Islands, right?
I believe, yes, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think the Communist Party has been in control there since the 70s or something. So, yeah, but
we'll get more into Marxism and stuff like that later. We want to still go through the news and stuff like that. And I got a piece of news for you.
Oh,
you remember that Iranian ship that we were desperately looking for on Google Earth?
The aircraft carrier we were trying to find. Yeah, just to let you know, we'd heard about the Iranians had built a mock-up of the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, and they'd said where it was being built, and so we were using Google Earth to try and find it, but we couldn't. So what's your news?
Well, the Iranians have actually made a statement on this, and it's actually just a movie set.
Oh. And the Americans assumed that it was going to be blown up for propaganda purposes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll read just the first part of the article. It's from Reuters. A replica of a U.S. aircraft carrier spotted near the coast of Iran is nothing more sinister than a movie set, Iranian media said on Sunday. The New York Times, quoting U.S. intelligence, said last week that the Iranians were building a mock-up of a U.S. nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, possibly so they could then blow it up for propaganda purposes. Satellite photos showed what looked like one of the U.S. Navy's Nimitz-class aircraft carriers, complete with planes. I didn't see any planes.
No, and it didn't look anything like a Nimitz carrier.
No, it didn't.
It's like a bunch of rectangular shapes slapped together.
Yeah, just trying to, like a poor Chinese imitation.
Or like a child's drawing of an aircraft carrier and like the margins of his notebook. Yeah.
So basically, the Americans, again, are paranoid fools.
Oh, sure. Do you want to know how paranoid they are? I've got an article for you.
Oh, certainly.
Taking into it. All right. They have a system in the United States called zero tolerance in their schools. For those of you in countries that don't have idiots in control of education, what that is that they have zero tolerance for anything they don't like and will severely punish people the second they get out of line. And so in St. Louis in the United States, a mother came in to school to see her son and pick him up. He was, they claim, a special needs son, so I guess he was retarded in some way. So she came in to console him because he was upset and to take him home. So what happened is that she wound up in handcuffs and the school was put on lockdown because she forgot to sign in at the office. So she says here, I was lying in bed when I received a frantic phone call from the teacher. My son was panicking. So he has Asperger's. Oh, okay. So, okay. So basically, he's just a weird kid because neither of us agree that Asperger's is actually a real thing. You can comment below the fact that you have Asperger's, but we don't believe that it's real. Anyway, So whatever socially maladjusted nonsense he was afflicted with, she ran in to retrieve him. She was buzzed into the school by officials and went and saw a teacher, and the teacher took her right to her son. She got to the classroom, consoled him, and then the principal informed her she had violated school policy by not signing in. So she said, "You can bring me the book." And the principal said, "No, I've already called the police." And the call came out as an unauthorized entry to the school. The school was put on a 12-minute lockdown, and a letter was sent home to parents. Then they escorted the woman away from her son, who already had emotional distress. 4 officers told her to turn around and put her hands behind her back, and she was under arrest. She was taken to the police station on trespassing charges. But since she is a known parent and had met with the principal on Wednesday about a separate issue, she thought that was a little ridiculous. So she said, "I feel like I got arrested for being a concerned parent of my child," which she did, basically. So, yeah Americans, paranoid fools. Seriously.
To me, this feels like one of those situations that could be best described as, or through using that Korean phrase, "show us your balls" or something? Is that what that phrase is?
Something. Oh, the Koreans. Show us your balls, or
in a challenge or something like that. And you have two sides, both acting way over the top, right? You have the parent who basically, because she's a parent and has a child, automatically is a queen and can do whatever she wants, whenever she wants, wherever she wants. And then you have a entrenched bureaucratic system that feels it can also do whatever it wants, and can bring all the instruments of society down upon those people who challenge it in any way. It's just ridiculous. If this had happened, 50 years ago, say, there would have been a small this wouldn't have happened, right? There'd be no Asperger's. The kid would have just been slapped across the face for for playing the piano with his feet, and then
with a sharp-edged iron ruler, probably.
Okay, let's say that there was some sort of distress and the parent came. First of all, the parent wouldn't have, I'm a parent, or barged into the classroom. Probably would have asked, is something wrong? Is there anything I can do? Is, my son okay? Can I talk to him for a moment? Something like that. And the principal would have been like, "Hey, you know what? Sure, we'll bring him out of class. Is everything okay, Joey? That sort of thing. Would you like a cup of milk or something like that?" But nope, it became a WWF match politically, and they're all idiots. And I hope the United States implodes into a fiery cauldron of death and destruction.
That's a reasonable conclusion. But I just like what must have been going through the mind of that principal, who's a woman, oddly enough, who was just sitting in her office and sees a concerned mother walk by and think, "Aha! She didn't sign in, calling the cops."
Sure.
Because it was probably the highlight of her fucking month.
Absolutely.
That she got to call the cops on somebody and say, "Look how powerful I am, and you didn't follow my system." And so now that woman had to go to a police station. Isn't that stupid?
It's you have two competing foolish ideologies competing. You have one. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, right. You have self-entitlement on the part of the parent, and then you have bureaucracy run amok. And when you have the two competing, that's it, right? That's the end of society as we know it, because neither side will give in.
Yep.
So it's
Well, this is the Walnut Grove Elementary School in Calverton. To anyone who wants to contact them and complain about their idiocy, their number is 314-524-8922. What the hell kind of phone number is that? 314-524-8922. I guess that's not missing any numbers. Give them a call and tell them they suck, because they do. Yep. All right. Do you have any additional news?
I do. It's something we actually talked about outside of the show, but I think it's worth discussing here. There was a young lady working at a 7-Eleven, It was really, really cold outside, and there was a homeless guy. And she, he's cold, he's homeless. I'm gonna put $1 into a till, my own money, buy him a coffee. Gonna hand him the coffee. Nothing. I can't see anything wrong with that. The boss comes out, however, sees the homeless guy with the 7-Eleven coffee in his hands, freaks out, shakes him by the collar, demands to know, how did you get this? Did he pay for this? And then the girl actually lied, right? She said that he did pay for it. She didn't say that she paid it for it herself,
right.
Which was kind of weird. I don't know why she did that. But anyway, boss didn't like that. Fired her for buying a cup of coffee for a homeless guy. And then
she later revealed that's why she fired. He was fired. Yeah, but yeah.
And then there was a public outcry, and then he's like, "Oh, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let's forget about it. You're hired back."
Yeah, what a load of shit. My God. So for one thing, that's that girl's money. If she wants to buy a coffee for somebody whose fucking business is that, except hers. But it was what was his name? Ahmed Wasaguri or something like that. He's a stereotypical, overweight, bald, shiny foreheaded Middle Eastern merchant. And, probably, very, very quick to use Islam and the Quran as a crutch whenever anyone comes after him, and yet not following any of its tenets whatsoever. If he would strip a young woman of her livelihood for being charitable to the amount of $1 worth of coffee, he's the worst fucking scum of the earth. There is no excuse for his behavior.
He's a jerk.
I think the 7-Eleven Corporation should fire him, although he's probably a franchise owner or something. But seriously, they really should take a second look at the type of people that they have running their stores. When somebody comes out did you pay for that coffee? Where'd you get that coffee? Because he sees a homeless man and he's so concerned about the 3 cents worth of coffee that man actually had in his cup that he has to scream about it. Whereas that homeless man was probably nearly in tears at that girl's generosity, or I don't know about that. Maybe he was not grateful, but he might have been. If I was freezing and someone gave me a cup of coffee, I'm not homeless, but I'd be grateful even now. So, that guy, I want to slap him in the face from across the ocean.
I have actually a personal anecdote I could share that's sort of kind of similar to this. Well, not really too similar, but anyway. When I was living in Vancouver during my time in Canada, I enjoyed this one particular restaurant called Denny's. I don't know if you've ever eaten there. It's pretty delicious. But anyway, there's a homeless guy sitting outside the Denny's. And as I was eating my meal, I bought an extra meal to give to the homeless guy, like a sandwich, and there was some fries and a coffee. And so I bought it. And I wasn't done eating my meal yet, so I bought it and I gave it to him so that it would be hot or whatever while he was eating it. So I went out there, I gave it to him, and then came back in. And the first thing that the Denny's waitress girl said to me, "Wow, that was a really generous thing you did." And that's what I don't get. If it was so generous and such a good thing, why had no one in that place done it beforehand? Why was I the first person to have done that?
Yeah. That man was probably sitting there because he was hoping somebody would get the message and get him some food.
And he said thanks and everything. His face lit up. He said thank you. So he obviously appreciated it. And I don't get it.
If I was starving and hungry and somebody walked up with a sandwich and some French fries, I think I would be pretty damn happy too. So yeah, it's
and the person I was with, I turned to her and I said, "Oh, he kind of looks like Jesus," and he did look like Jesus. And I said that, and her response was, "I really hope that wasn't the reason why you gave him that sandwich." And I was just thinking, I was like, "What? what is wrong with people? I don't get it."
How did she not understand the real reason you gave him a sandwich? It's pretty obvious. People.
I will admit it was partially because he looked like Jesus, but...
Okay, oh yeah, of course he looked like that.
But still, like, come on, people. Well, how much is a sandwich? Like, $5? $5. I don't
So,
know.
to you, $5 is nothing, but to that man, $5 was everything because he didn't have $5. If he did, he would have a sandwich of his own. So yeah, people, yeah. Well, I've got a news article that somewhat relating to Jesus. Not really, but it's about the Vatican.
All right.
A package was sent to the Vatican from a South American country. What was in the package? What do you think?
I was just about to read this article to you next. I was just about to read this article to you next.
I was saving this for last. Okay. Our minds are connected by a USB cable. 14 condoms filled with 33,000 pounds worth of liquid cocaine sent to the fucking Vatican City. And nobody picked it up. They set a trap, but no one came to pick up the cocaine. So I guess somebody was tipped off. I mean, there's only, 20 people in the Vatican. So they're probably like, oh, shit, they found out. Yeah. So who was using that cocaine? Let's see. How many people are in the Vatican? You've got the Swiss Guard. I doubt if it was them. You've got the Pope. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would use that, although he is from South America, so maybe he has connections. And then you've got all the cardinals and the attending bishops and priests and stuff. So it must have been some of the religious staff.
Yeah.
Either that or the Vatican was unknowingly being used as a mule stop, but I doubt that. So
I would not be surprised if the Vatican was knee-deep in drug trades. Like, they are so rich, it's absurd.
I bet what's going on is that the cardinals are snorting cocaine off the penises of little boys, because that's basically what they get down to these days in the Catholic Church.
And we just got a phone call from the Communications Regulatory Committee in Madrid. Okay.
All right. Well, considering Madrid is currently on fire, I'm going to ignore that. But
yeah.
Hey, if they got a problem, they can call the Pope.
They can call the Pope. You know what? I did not know, and this is probably strange that this is the biggest element I took from this article, but I did not know cocaine came in liquid form.
Yeah, I've never really heard it. It's always in rocks or in
powder or
yeah.
Like when you snort it, it's powder, right? Usually.
What are you talking about? I don't snort cocaine. Well, one could assume that since we are radio guys, that we are actually sitting in bathtubs of cocaine at the moment, but that is not true.
Absorb it like Epsom salts.
It just osmoses through our skin into our bodies.
We would die within 5 minutes of that. That would be ridiculous.
In seconds. We just machine gun dance. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about liquid cocaine. I guess some of our drug-using friends can tell us below in our comments.
I don't know how you would take that. What would you do? Like drop it into your eyes like Hitler did? Or
maybe you stir it into your tea. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you could actually eat it. You have to actually absorb it somehow. It'd have to be... Probably through the eyes. That's how I think. It'd be an eye droplet. That's kind of weird.
Maybe liquid cocaine is...
I've never heard about that other than in a medicinal...
See, I'm looking on Google right now, and the only references to liquid cocaine are cocktails using Jägermeister, Goldschlager, and other liqueurs and stuff. There's no mention, except for this news article, of liquid cocaine.
Are they sure it was liquid?
Well, I don't know. Well, here we go. Let's see. So cocaine comes from the coca bush, of course.
Yeah.
An elevation, blah, 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 worthless crap. Okay, the leaves are removed. No, let's see. They concentrate the cocaine. Okay, they concentrate the cocaine from the leaves. They dissolve it in ether or a solvent, and they soak the leaves in that solvent. Then the leaves are removed, and it leaves behind cocaine in a liquid form, which is cocaine plus ether. It's then evaporated until it gets concentrated. So I guess it was sent.
So why on earth would they send it like that instead of as bricks or something? That is weird.
I don't know. It says here, well, in condoms, I guess maybe it was an interesting way to send it, because bricks are probably easily detected, but bags of liquid would be perhaps mistaken as something else. I don't know. Although that's suspicious. But
yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Really weird.
It says that liquid cocaine can be made into regular water-based coke or converted to crack for smoking.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah. All right.
Huh.
So the crack-smoking clergy can,
The
can cut it out.
the cokehead nuns need to give it a rest. Well, it's tobacco. What else do you have to do there, right?
Yeah. Speaking of ridiculous religion, I have a story I wanted to share. My last story of the day before we move on, unless you have one. In some place in Africa called Bulawayo. I have no idea where this is, but in the south, I think, nowhere near where I'm from. But there was drama at an apostolic church in a Cowdrey Park suburb of Bulawayo when irate congregants reportedly ran amok and severely bashed a man they suspected of using Mabobobos to have supernatural sex, better known as Bluetooth sex, or the female congregant, during church service. His name was Tafara Mukoto, and apparently he had to seek refuge in a neighboring house to avoid further beatings. So Mubobobo is a type of magic where a man uses charms to perform a sexual act on an unsuspecting woman. Often the victims can feel themselves being violated and even get to briefly enjoy the encounter before coming out of the spell and regaining control. So there have been several cases of this African Bluetooth sex technology or magic or whatever being reported in the past, and it's hard for police and victims to prove the claims. Yeah, of course it's hard to prove the claims, because it's not real. Ah, how stupid that is.
Why?
Yep.
Why is it that only in Africa do these totally insane things happen? It's always Africa, always.
I don't know. Africa's a messed up place. Not all of it. I mean, yeah. I mean, the north is nicer, and I do like it, but the south is just batshit insane, as they would say in the States. Mobobobo, come on, really, guys? Come on. You see, apparently the man was seen constantly tapping his foot during the service, so that was enough for everyone else to go, Mobobobo, and they ran and they beat him in the church where they were just hearing about Jesus and all of his messages, and so this blows my mind. They're in an apostolic church learning about the Bible and about Jesus and about all his teachings, and then they see someone and suspect them of some kind of voodoo magic, which, of course, the Bible should have convinced them doesn't exist, even if rationalism couldn't have convinced them that it doesn't exist. And then they beat the man savagely inside the church. Like, are these people not even listening to the sermons? Is there a sermon, or are they just like hanging out in the church and like, playing cards, or like, what's going on? Come on, guys! I'd give you all a phone number to call for that church, but they do not have one, so you'll have to call that school to complain about their principal. But wow, Africa! Wow, Africa!
I don't know.
Oh, the comment section. Africans commenting in the comments.
Here we go.
The devil is a liar. He lured the sinner into believing he could get away with such evil acts. Look at what he reaped instead: suffering and humiliation.
So basically, just because one administers discipline solely by the administration of discipline, it makes the act right. Do you not see a problem with that? So if I punch you in the face, because I punched you in the face, I'm right.
Yeah. Well, somebody responded to that comment. Oops, looks like someone let the talking ape near the keyboard. Oh, that's a little bit offensive, guys. But anyway. All right, well, I think it's time to go into our die rolling segment.
Please.
You had any no more ridiculous news?
No.
Okay, and if you start tapping your foot, I'm going to punch you because I don't want you raping me. So don't tap your foot, Mabobobo man. Oh, now the secretary is looking at it. All right, let's get back to things. So, first segment of the day is going to be... it is a 4. Excellent.
You didn't sound like that was excellent. That was kind of like,
Because honestly, I was trying to remember what that meant. That's our Quranic segment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That sounded like
It is, yeah.
you were more disappointed than if you had just been given a brick of gold and you touched it and realized it was just a brick of poop wrapped in aluminum foil or something. That's how disappointed you sounded.
No, it wasn't disappointment. It was just my brain drawing a blank as I tried to remember what we'd said as number 4.
All right, all right.
It is time for a. Okay.
So how about you randomly open the Quran again and read it in a scary voice,
and then the Quran right here.
And then we can discuss it.
All right. I will flip some pages. You can hear me flipping to right here. Oh, I've got a bookmark in this page, so it must be good. This is the exact same page I opened to last time. That's probably because of the bookmark. Let me take it out and try that again.
All right.
It's the spider again. Here we go. The Throngs. I am on 3917. It says here, "But let those rejoice who keep from idol worship and turn to God in penitence." That's not scary enough. "Give good news to my No, I won't do that. "Give good news to my servants who listen to my precepts and follow what is best in them. It is these whom God has guided. It is these who are endowed with understanding. Can you rescue from the fire those who have rightly earned the scourge? As for those who truly fear their Lord, they shall be lodged in towering mansions, set about with running streams. Such is God's promise. God will not fail his promise. Do you not see how God sends down water from the sky, which penetrates the earth and gathers in the springs beneath? With it he brings forth plants of various hues. They wither, they turn yellow, and then he turns them into dust. Surely in this there is an admonition for men of understanding."
Good, good. There's 2 things I'd like to say about that. First, I was watching a video by a guy just yesterday, and it was just him going for a walk in the forest and then just kind of ruminating about stuff. And it was taken recently, so everything is kind of dead, and winter is kind of receding, and I enjoy videos like that just because it's relaxing, and I get to kind of just meditate for a couple of minutes or whatever. And he made a comment. He said, it's amazing. I look at everything around me, and it's dead. But yet, in just a little while, it will all be green again. How's that possible? It blows my mind. The sign, even though he doesn't read the Quran or anything like that. He's probably not even religious at all. The sign has reached him, right? He knows that there's something, for lack of a better word, there's something weird about that. How everything can be dead, and yet everything can then suddenly be alive again. So it's reaching him. He doesn't have the full comprehension of why that's so. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was initially one of the first things you mentioned was idols. And when you say idols, what's the first thing that comes to people's minds? Statues, right? Baal, dragons, Baphomet, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or like voodoo dolls and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are just probably if you could divide idolatry into a pie, those things would probably be the tiniest slice. True idols are, money, children, and the biggest slice of the pie of all would be our egos, right? Because we're always right. We're always right. We're never wrong. So, we begin to worship ourselves. We become our own gods, and that's exactly what atheism is. There's no such thing as not having a religion. Everyone believes in something, and if you say you believe in nothing, what you're really saying is you believe in yourself above everything else. So in your own life, are you still committing idolatry? Do you
Everybody, of course, I think it's really, really difficult not to, because how often do you want to concede that you may be wrong about something, right? It's so difficult to overcome that urge to insist that you're always right. I'm pretty sure on this show, we have a fairly superior attitude about certain things. Others may challenge us, and we might not listen to what they say. So, right there, it's difficult to overcome. Things like money, I certainly do not let that govern my life. Certain ideologies, nationalism, things like that, which are definitely idols. I don't give a damn about. I guess the biggest idol in my life would still be my ego, and that I don't like to admit that I could be wrong about things. Because generally I don't really respect other people very much. At least not ever. It's not that I disrespect everyone. It's just that I have so rarely met people who I think deserve respect because their actions are quite evil. So, how about yourself? Do you think that do you have any idolatry that you still?
Sure.
Yeah.
And ego is a big part of that. Um, the thing is, though, I don't know. When I actually just finished reading a chapter in the Quran, and it actually specifically said, have you seen those who make their ego their gods and stuff like that? I don't think we're that far into idolatry regarding our egos. I think it's those people who, who are hardcore, have hardcore confidence in their actions and decisions, who think they're separate from nature, reality, stuff like that they're in full control and things like that. I think another case of idolatry that I sometimes stumble into, and I guess maybe sometimes other people do as well, is fear of the wrong things. Like, will I be able to eat, this week? Will I have enough money for food? Will my boss fire me? Stuff like that. Fear in the wrong places, right? Because if you fear someone other than God, you're ascribing a partner to God, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't fear him. Because if only one person has the power, why would you fear anyone else? So
Right.
by fearing other people,
that is a type of idolatry that is incredibly difficult for people to overcome. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's difficult too. I mean, because fear is such a natural response. If a man came at you with a knife and you felt fear, would you be elevating him to the same level as God? I don't know. Maybe yes, in some ways, because I guess anyone who really believed would think, "Oh, I'm going to die. That's good because I get to go to God." Of course, who would actually think that? People would think, "Oh God, I'm going to die." Nobody would just rationally go, "Oh, finally, my death has arrived! Yay!" As a knife, stabs them 100 times. So that's something I think nobody could ever really overcome that. But you're right. Fearing things like your boss firing you, or can I put gas in my car, or can I afford to buy that porn DVD or whatever it is that people are looking to buy? That's not good. So yeah, sure, I'm guilty of that kind of stuff too occasionally. So I mean, like I said, money doesn't dictate my life because I'm not hungrily searching for more, but I do occasionally think, I wonder if I can afford that thing that I do need. But I always survive, so I guess I shouldn't worry about it, right? So.
And the cure to that is to implore God for that thing, and I think a lot of people are forgetting to do that. Like, for example, like like you just said, if someone can't, doesn't have enough money for food, they're supposed to ask God, for whatever, the provisions, I don't know, the money for the food, just ask for help. And
I wonder if that man at the Denny's had done that, and then you happened along and you bought him a meal or something like that.
That would be incredibly interesting if so.
Yeah,
and it's possible.
Who knows? He might have just been sitting there in like a cracked out fugue, but then again, he might have been praying to something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
because it's hard to acknowledge that everything we say and think and ask for is being recorded somewhere and listened to, and it is actually answered. It's the greatest leap of faith that someone could probably undertake, right? Because if you had walked into the street and said, said to them, "Okay, I want you to ask God for something right now," they just laugh at you, right?
Of course,
because it defies their reality. Because their reality isn't actual reality. It's just kind of what they assume because that's how they live day to day. Well, I have to go to work to get the money, to get the food, to eat a meal. They don't. That's the reality. So they won't acknowledge anything that kind of disrupts that, I guess. But anyway.
And we don't mean that, if you beseech God that food will transport onto your desk like in Star Trek. No, that's not what we mean. So don't say that in the comments. But things have a way of happening, and it's people close their minds to certain avenues of things happening. So
so that's interesting. That was an interesting passage.
Yeah. Well, what passage isn't interesting? But but definitely an interesting one, especially kind of in line with what we've been thinking about recently. But it is time to roll the die again before we take up the whole show with a single segment. Let's see. Oh, looks like the Quran wants to be talked about. I rolled a 4, but our rule is that we cannot repeat. So let me roll it again. I rolled a 4. Let me roll again. Okay, I rolled a 2. That's not the 4. Okay. All right, so I'll let you take this one.
That's a battle, I believe.
That is a battle.
Dun, dun, dun. Today's battle will be between the Emperor of Japan and the Dalai Lama.
What? Who would win in a fight between the Emperor of Japan and the Dalai Lama? Wow. Okay. So you're. That's a question. Who would win? Okay. Let's see. I don't know. So Emperor Akihito in one corner. He is 80 years old, and the Dalai Lama on the other hand.
Who's also very old.
How old is he? He is. How old is he? His name's Tenzin Gyatso. He's 78 years old. Okay, so an 80-year-old man versus a 78-year-old man. One of whom, the 78-year-old man, is a bastion of peace and forgiveness and caring and wisdom and meditation, versus a man who has health issues and who is a marine biologist and is also a Buddhist and therefore probably quite peaceful as well. So,
and they're both always smiling and happy and friendly. So,
let's set the scenario. So, the Dalai Lama visits Japan and is touring the Imperial Gardens and makes a comment that the meditation garden is slightly out of alignment. And the Emperor says that, perhaps your interesting, antiquated Theravada Buddhism in Tibet is not what we have here. Or Zen Buddhism dictates that the rock should be slightly to the right of the sand. And they turn to each other, and the Dalai Lama rips off his robes, and the Emperor rips off his suit jacket, and then the fists come up. So because these two would never fight, so we have to be ridiculous. So that's what happened. They can't agree over the replacement of a rock in a meditation garden. So who wins in the fight?
Do either of them know a martial art?
I don't know. Let's see. I doubt very much if the Dalai Lama knows any martial arts. I don't think he does. The Emperor, though, might. Let's see.
I have a feeling
I'm Googling it here. I wouldn't be surprised if in his younger days. I'd have to do some more deep research. I'm not sure. I would assume that when he was young, he probably received lessons in
Bushido,
judo, probably kendo and stuff. It probably would have been part of his education as a young member of the royal family. So, however, has he used that in the last 70 years? Probably not.
Oh.
But he may have the fundamental in his brain somewhere of how to throw a punch or how to dodge.
That's total tangent. But what has he done for the last 50 years? Like, what is he like? I'm not saying that as to suggest that he's not important or anything. I'm just saying, like, what does he do with his time all day, every day?
I don't know. I can guess. I mean, he is a scientist, so he must be doing a lot of research. I think he writes research papers and stuff. So
Oh, okay.
I'm sure some of his time is devoted to science. He's really interested in marine ecology, studying like plankton and things like that, and how they interact with their environments. And he's actually, I think, a noted expert in the field. So science is probably a part of it. I guess he has to go to a bunch of like nonsensical royal functions like the Queen of England would. I think he travels fairly often to visit people,
Oh, really?
speaking with dignitaries, and well, not fairly often, but once in a while. He's pretty old. He likes to watch sumo, from what I've heard.
Oh.
So once a year, he actually goes to a sumo match in one of the arenas in Tokyo, where people can have a chance to see him. I don't think they can have a chance to talk to him, but they can. He probably has like a wall of sumo wrestlers standing around him at all times to make sure that he's safe. So, but anyway, back to the fight.
I think the Emperor.
Yeah, the Dalai Lama is he is the embodiment of pacifism. So I don't think he would even fight back in physical combat. So yeah, the Emperor, I think, would take the cake when it comes to. I mean, again, the Dalai Lama is 78. So what would it take? Like, a cane smack across the forehead, and down he goes.
Yeah.
So what's next in the fight then?
I don't even know. Like, what? how do you measure those two? Who? Let's say who would be better at leading a nation if they had to? Like, let's say elected governments have disappeared, and let's say the Dalai Lama is back and he's leading Tibet, or even China, and the Emperor is leading Japan. So who would be the better leader and why?
That's a good question. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know either.
I think the Dalai Lama would, because his philosophy has to do with life itself, and you would get rid of all this nonsense capitalism and stuff like that, and you would have a peaceful, agrarian, highly spiritual kind of nation that China essentially was.
Yeah.
Throughout all of its history.
Plus, he spent most of his life involved in political struggles and trying to.
So he really understands it.
Yeah, whereas the Emperor is a figurehead, and his own people no longer respect him as a leader. So he would, if the Diet and the Prime Minister and stuff of Japan vanished, he would somehow have to convince the entire population of Japan, which has become anti-empire, pro-peace, to suddenly accept him as the form of government again. I don't think that would be possible, because Japan is such a heavily capitalist society now, with all the businesses accept imperial edicts, and it's like Sumitomo Banking Corporation, you're hereby ordered by the Emperor to blah blah blah. Like, I don't see that happening. So I think the Emperor would probably just die from disappointment. Maybe his son would have more. I don't know.
But what about all these nationalists and imperialists that?
Oh, they're like a tiny percent of the population, though. I guess they would form like.
But do you think that take The Walking Dead for instance? How a lot of people who were nobodies suddenly arose and became warlords, like the governor and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. Was he a teacher or something?
Yeah, no, he worked at like a big box store or something, like shelving stuff or whatever. He wasn't even. He had a younger boss that he loathed or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
And would suddenly a new samurai class arise? And
I don't know if there's any room for a samurai class, because business would just want to go on as usual. I don't think the society would be willing to change, but I don't know.
Okay, well, let me propose something else. What would the Yakuza fill that role for the Emperor?
Oh, maybe they would. The Yakuza have a lot of power and influence, and dare I say respect? I think.
Yeah, I think they would. Respect, and their structure is a royal kind of structure. So
yeah, I think maybe some of the Yakuza and some of those right-wing guys would form once again, from the Boshin War era of the 19th century, the Ishin Shishi movement,
Hmm.
which I've studied Japanese history. So for those who don't know it, these were, I guess you could say, kind of like ninja, but they weren't like magic warriors or anything. They were
Hmm.
secret agents basically and spies who supported the emperor against the shogunate, which was the government at the time, the Tokugawa shogunate.
Hmm.
And the emperor was pissed off because all the gangly barbarian apes had come in boats and started bleeding their technology and culture all over the place.
Hmm.
And the emperor commanded that all foreigners be expelled at once from the country. And the Shishi guys were like trying to carry out. And then the shogun was resisting that because the emperor wanted to get power back, and the shogunate didn't want to lose their power. And so maybe the Shishi would kind of come back in a sense that these crazy right-wing guys would become like the new, along with the Yakuza, like some kind of, that'd be interesting. I think that would make a good movie or a good book or something, or a good comic book maybe to, maybe an anime actually would be better, because let the Japanese make that. But well, let's get back to the fight.
Yeah. That was so interesting. I'd forgotten about the fight.
So the emperor has I think a very slight physical edge over the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
And the Dalai Lama, I think, is better suited to lead people.
But he doesn't have the structure that the emperor could call upon.
Also, the emperor would have fanatical people backing him, whereas are any Buddhists under the Dalai Lama fanatics?
Yeah,
I don't know.
some of them actually are. Some of them are pretty harsh.
But would he accept them though as actual like members of his organization?
I don't think so. No. So he lacks the structure that the emperor could probably invoke. So
maybe the Dalai Lama has the experience, but the emperor has the allies. Maybe it's a tie, or would you say the emperor has the
I'm going to say the emperor, because the way Japan is structured, from my opinion, the emperor wouldn't have to be a strong leader if he had a strong structure around him.
True.
And the way Japan is oriented, like, take China for instance. If you say something in China, how many people are going to agree with you? Like two? Like, everyone's going to be fighting with each other, right? You say something in Japan, there's a silence over the home islands as everyone contemplates and executes the command. It's different attitudes. So I think I'm going to go with the emperor on this one.
All right. Well, plus there's one other thing I guess we could consider is that he has a bit of authenticity to his title, and that the Emperor of Japan is the oldest imperial title in continuity in the history of the world. Mm-hmm. An unbroken line of emperors from the same family that's like 2,600 years old. Mm-hmm. So he has valid claims to be the leader of Japan, since his family has been the leader of Japan forever. Mm-hmm. So I guess that, in a way, I mean, people can't say he's a usurper, or that he doesn't belong in this position, or there won't be some claimant from some little island in the south saying I'm the real emperor. None of that would happen. So yeah, okay, all right. Plus, when he dies, here's another thing about government. When he dies, his son becomes the emperor. When the Dalai Lama dies, they have to choose a new Dalai Lama based on their old system of testing to see which person he's reincarnated into. So,
which is ridiculous.
And does that person have the same ideals as the old Dalai Lama? They would say yes, because he's the reincarnation. But how do we know that? Mm-hmm. So things would fall apart. People would see, the old Dalai Lama and his 80 years of experience are gone. Let's use this time as a time to attack, and they would, take apart his system. So yeah, okay. So Emperor, he's kicking ass. Should we have a third category? It's already 2 out of 3. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's that's the. All right. Wow, I thought the Dalai Lama was actually going to win this, but no, he was defeated soundly by the emperor.
Soundly by the Emperor of Japan.
Let's roll the dice one more time.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Okay, 3. That's the conspiracy corner, isn't it?
It is. Let's talk about. What did we talk about last time? Do you remember?
Project Bluebeam.
Oh yeah, Project Bluebeam. Okay, let's talk about something else that's kind of big. The Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
The-
We could talk about
Yeah,
that
we
in an
could.
entire YouTube
Okay,
series of its own.
so
Yeah.
let's not talk about all of the Illuminati. Let's just talk about one aspect, and then we could maybe bring more Illuminati up in the future. Let's talk about eyes and logos, and eyes appearing in logos. Now, people say that in many logos and in many music videos, a lot of hand signals are being given. For example, in a Rihanna video, she'll cover her eye and to show just one eye, and that's apparently a sign.
Hmm.
Or in corporate logos, there are signs, or in the form of eyes, like America Online, like on the dollar bill, the American dollar bill, and elsewhere, stuff like that. And personally, at first I thought, well, the eye is pretty common, right? It's a pretty common thing. So
It's a powerful symbol
yeah, it
in
is.
human history, right?
But then, I was watching a Girls' Generation music video that I've seen at least 10,000 times as I put it on repeat.
He's got it playing right now in his room. He's not even in there. So, yeah.
And I noticed something. In the background, almost subliminally, there was constantly abstract eyes being shown.
Hmm.
And in a recent video, I saw HyoYeon covering her eye, just like Rihanna did. The exact same gesture, the exact same signal. And I thought that's kind of weird.
Well, she could just be copying Rihanna.
Yeah, she could. She could be. And then I came across this article that said the Illuminati in its symbology had infiltrated the whole K-pop Ballyu scene, and it was rampant in Korean media. So I
The
don't know.
Illuminati dominating Korean media. Interesting.
Yeah. So
That's
I don't know.
something we normally talk about.
Is this I don't know? Is this silly or like what is this? What do you think?
I have no idea. That's something that I have no information on that. It seems impossible. Like,
Yeah, it does. It really does.
The eye is a symbolic thing, and
Yeah, it
it
is.
can be used in so many ways. To covering the eye can represent not seeing something or ignoring something or so. I'm hesitant to say that there's anything more than it's just the eye being used as an artistic element, as it always has been. But at the same time, that does seem kind of odd. So I don't know. It's worth further study.
Like if we just take a look at the American, like just do a Google search on your own computer of the $1 bill, of the U.S. $1 bill, and the eye above the pyramid. Have you ever stopped to think why that's on the dollar bill? Like that's weird.
Yeah. I thought that was a strange.
Like that doesn't belong there. It doesn't even make
What does
sense.
it mean?
I don't know. That means the words mean New World Order underneath.
Hmm.
And then it shows a pyramid. And then there's an eye on. Like that's weird. And this symbol has been on all American money since the beginning, and it never changes. Why?
Well, let's see what this is here.
Yeah, okay.
It's called the Eye of Providence.
Okay.
The all-seeing eye of God. This is a symbol often surrounded by rays of light or a glory, and usually enclosed by a triangle, sometimes interpreted as representing the eye of God watching over humankind, or divine providence. Right. In the modern era, the most notable depiction is in the reverse on the Great Seal of the United States and the dollar bill. It says many religions have used the image of an eye in their religious symbolism. One of the earliest known examples from Egyptian mythology is the Eye of Horus. Interesting. In medieval and Renaissance European iconography, the eye, often with the addition of an enclosing triangle, was an explicit image of the Christian Trinity. However, the Americans were not founded on Catholicism; they were Protestants, so that wouldn't make sense. But 17th century depictions of the Eye of Providence sometimes show it surrounded by clouds or sunbursts. Oh, here we go. United States. In 1782, the Eye of Providence was adopted as part of the symbolism on the reverse side of the Great Seal of the United States. It was first suggested as an element of the Great Seal by first of three design committees, and it is thought to be the suggestion of the artistic consultant Pierre-Eugène du Cimetière. On the seal, the eye is surrounded by the words Annuit Coeptis, meaning he approves or has approved our undertakings, and Novus Ordo Seclorum, meaning new order of the ages. So you're right there. Let's see here. Let's see. The eye is positioned above an unfinished pyramid with 13 steps, representing the original 13 states and the future growth of the country. The lowest level of the pyramid shows 1776 in Roman numerals. The combined implication is that the eye, or God, favors the prosperity of the United States.
Okay, that's reasonable. I can buy that.
Yeah. But then there's a further entry about Freemasonry down here, and many people believe the Freemasons are like a part of the Illuminati. So today, the Eye of Providence is usually associated with Freemasonry. The eye first appeared as part of the standard iconography of the Freemasons in 1797. Let's see here. Popular among conspiracy theorists is the claim that the Eye of Providence shown atop an unfinished pyramid on the Great Seal indicates the influence of Freemasonry in the founding of the United States, which was dramatized in the film National Treasure by Disney, of all things. However, common Masonic uses of the eye dates to 14 years after the creation of the Great Seal, so they didn't adopt it till later. Furthermore, among the members of the various design committees for the Great Seal, only Benjamin Franklin was a Mason, and his ideas for the seal were not adopted. So,
that's not true. George Washington was also a Freemason.
Ah, interesting.
He was a high-level Freemason.
Was he a member of the design committee for the Great Seal, though? It says only
among the I understand. Okay, yeah.
So, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of the Masons, there's even some people who have suggested perhaps that the Freemasons are the modern continuity of the Knights Templar, which is actually written about in a series of historical fiction novels, I think by Jack White, I'm not sure, about the Order of the Templar, but I think there's also been some discussion about it outside of his books. That the Templar, once they were eradicated by the King of France, they kind of went into hiding. Because apparently, and this is actually apparently true, a lot of the secret rituals that the Freemasons use for new members and things like that are identical copies of what the Templar used to indoctrinate new members. So, according to like leaked information from people who've been inside their halls and stuff, so maybe there are a continuation, or maybe they just think the Templars were cool and wanted to be like them. But I don't know. But anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. So,
and what were you going to say, sorry?
Well, I was just going to say, so on one hand, maybe it could mean nothing, or on the other hand, it could actually be a very effective means of mass propaganda. So I guess we don't know either way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting. So if anyone sees any appearances of eyes anywhere, put them below, and we'll check them out. Because I'm actually starting to see these little gestures and stuff all over the place now that I'm actually looking for them. But I don't know. I don't know.
Indeed. Yeah.
For all I know, Jamal could be one of the Illuminati, and this show is just a big propaganda scheme to lure you all.
But you're the second half of this show. You would have to know that. So that would be quite the feat if I managed to create a show equally with you, and yet I am.
Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to wrap it up.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
Because we have just enough time for me to ask you a question.
Okay.
An inquisition.
Oh, nice.
Just a very short one, because we're only an hour and 7 minutes in, so we got a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
So here's a situation for you.
We're only an hour and 3 minutes in, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay. So you are being outcast to a deserted island because people can no longer tolerate your bullshit. So
my answer is HyoYeon.
And that's all the time we have for today, folks. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, keep going.
Okay. All right. So you're permitted to bring with you 5 things in addition to the food and the tools that you'll need to build shelter.
Okay.
You are allowed to bring 1 book. Now, obviously, you're going to say the Quran. So in addition to the Quran, 1 book, 1 animal companion, 1 CD of music, 1 artistic device with which to pass the time, and the last item, you're being banished, so sadly you cannot bring HyoYeon with you. I'm sorry. Seeds for 1 type of vegetable that you would like to grow. So, a book, an animal companion, a CD, artistic device, and seeds.
I'm guessing HyoYeon seeds are out of the question, right?
Do those exist?
They do not exist. Okay, so the book.
If they did, and you had them, you would become the most powerful man in Korea. But as all the young men paid you for seeds, I don't even.
If I could bring one book in addition to the Quran, it would probably be the Bible. But I'm checking to see if there's any other books that I would like to bring. It would either be the Bible or the collected ancient Roman comedy plays, because they're hilarious.
And well, let's make it more of an entertainment book. It's going to be something, because you got the Quran, so okay. And let's assume the Bible as well, because that's fine. An entertainment book, I should have said, some kind of story or collection.
I would bring a collection of all the comedies from ancient Greece and ancient Rome.
All right, good answer.
They're funny, and if anyone else appeared on the island, we could enact a play, and it would be hilarious.
Yeah, I bet you're wishing that you could enact those plays with HyoYeon right now, but
I don't know. I don't know if she's a fan of
ancient Roman comedies.
Aristophanes.
Aristophanes. I have a feeling that she is not. Okay, so what kind of animal companion would you bring on the island with you?
Well, what kind of other creatures are on the island?
Nothing. It's deserted. It's just you and
no snakes or predators or stuff like that.
There's nothing. Not even any insects. Just you and the fish in the ocean around you. And there are some plants and stuff, and some trees and things for which to obtain sustenance other than fish. And there's a patch of soil for you to grow your seeds conveniently, but there's no animals.
So I can't bring a griffin that would fly me away back to civilization, could I?
Okay, once again, is a griffin a real thing? Come on. No griffins.
Okay, well, and I'm guessing this has to be based in practicality, right? Like, I can't, like, a giant blue whale that I could ride on the back of or inside of to take me somewhere, right?
No, you can't ride on the back of a blue whale.
Okay.
You can't leave the island, so don't try.
Okay. I'm going to bring a tiny little dog with me.
A tiny little dog.
A tiny little dog, because it could still do the things a big dog could do. But it would eat less food, and it would be easier to take care of.
Plus, tiny dogs are hilarious.
They're hilarious.
You could enact the Roman plays with a tiny dog once you backed and became crazy enough. So, oh, Dogocles.
Dogocles? What?
Wherefore art thine buttocks, Dogocles? I don't know, whatever the poetry would be like, but yeah. Okay, so Roman poetry, tiny dog. You have a CD of music and an infinite power item on which to play it. What music would you bring?
I would bring. Oh, this is not an easy answer.
And it can't be a custom CD.
Yeah, I know.
Like Fat Beats Volume 3. It has to be like a single type of music.
I probably will not be selecting dubstep for this,
nope.
Even though I enjoy dubstep. I would probably pick. Oh, this is so hard because this is the only music you get to. You know what? I would probably pick. See, you said compilation, but I don't know any actual artists. So I would. Can I say like a CD of Chinese folk music?
Yeah, that's fine.
Like that kind we were listening to the other evening, like relaxing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to bring along a copy of "I Got a Boy" by Girls' Generation?
See, I don't really listen to their music. I more watch their music videos.
You just stare at their bodies, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, no, I enjoy the music and the dancing, but their Girls' Generation's music, it's not the kind of music I would enjoy or listen to on my own. It's not like 21 where I could actually listen to it on its own. It's kind of like the whole the whole production value behind it, which makes it so successful. Like their newest album, Mr. Mister, is like, but when you watch the video, it's just pretty good. So.
Okay. So yeah, listening to them for like the rest of your life on a deserted island too, probably.
Nah.
All right, Chinese folk music doesn't get old. All right, you have an artistic device with which to pass the time and to make art. What would you bring?
I would bring a typewriter.
Okay.
With, I'm assuming enough ink. Well, see, I don't. Well, infinite ink and paper, I guess, assuming, but yeah, okay. I would want to write something, so because I can't draw, and
neither can I.
Sculpt, like what? Like what?
You have some musical talent, don't you?
Yeah, but
you can't really plonk a piano down on a deserted island or anything like that, or a set of drums.
A flute. Yeah, I could maybe learn to use a simple like native flute or something. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what would you rather do? Make music or write?
I'd rather write because I'd have music. So.
Right. So, okay. And lastly, in addition to the bounty of the sea and the local foods, you're allowed to grow one type of vegetable that would not otherwise be found on the island. What vegetable would that be? No HyoYeon seeds. It's not a vegetable. And what would you do once you have like 50 of them? No, don't answer that question. Anyway, you'd form a raft out of HyoYeons and then sail across the ocean.
They would dance me across the ocean?
Okay, back to reality. What seeds?
Back to reality.
Back to imagined reality.
What is my favorite vegetable? Can it be fruit or does it have to be a vegetable?
I guess fruit's fine.
Like, could I grow a peach tree or something, or?
Yeah, if you want to.
Then I'm gonna grow a peach tree because I think some vitamin. Is there vitamin C in peaches?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Well, if health is not a consideration, peaches are really delicious, so I think I would go with peaches.
There is 6.6 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 grams of peaches.
Okay, so there you go. And plus, I could grind the pits together to make a drink of cyanide and kill myself.
What about your tiny dog? Would you poison the dog as well?
Oh, I guess I'd have to stay.
Or
that was the catch. That's why you made me bring along an animal, because you know I love animals, and I couldn't do that. You're a jerk. This is some carefully crafted communist psyops experiment you put me into, wasn't it?
And that's all the time we have for today, folks.
It is. We hope you enjoyed the show. We certainly enjoyed recording it for you.
Indeed.
If you have any comments, leave them below.
Back next week with even more madness for you to consider.
And perhaps a little bit of Marxism, because we didn't get to discuss that this time, unfortunately.
Right, yeah, we had wanted to. We'll take a bit of time to organize our thoughts so that we don't just ramble on for an hour and bore you to death.
Yeah, that probably won't happen.
For about half an hour. Yeah.
Okay. We'll try to get to Marxism, though, because we got a lot of interesting things we want to talk about regarding
it. Bring a pillow and a bowl of popcorn, because you probably need one of them. And enjoy.
So, yeah, this has been the Internet Paladins. I am the Spaniard.
And I'm Jamal.
And we'll see you soon.
Take care.